I know now that my wife has become host to a Kandarian demon. I fear that the only way to stop those possessed by the spirits of the book is through the act of bodily dismemberment.
It's truly frightening.
Because you were home.
Oh man, I got this. Big love for me too, man. Yeah. I'll see you soon.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Horror Fiend TV. It's Thursday night. That means 3 Corners of Horror Live. And tonight we got the Horror Fiend family together. We got obviously the fourth corner and coming back, Robby, who you've seen on a couple of our shows. So it's kind of like the family's together right now. So, Robby, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, everyone. The weather's a little crappy here, but I'm feeling good. And I love this movie, so I'm anxious to discuss it.
And Lexi, welcome back.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing? You guys look great. I love everybody's shirts and shit.
Yeah, Killer Clowns.
Looks good. Yes, Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Killer Clowns. Yes, love it. Love everybody's shirts. Doing good though. How's everybody?
Good, yeah. What's on yours? I was trying to figure out. Is it a ghost too? Or is it just a design on your shirt?
Who?
You.
Mine was Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Freddy
yeah.
versus Jason.
I couldn't even.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a little, like a ghost. All right, that's even better. And of course, my brother JR, the villain. How are you tonight?
Oh, 25 years. Did it age well, or I don't know? Is the new one going to be a whole reset?
All right. Ricky Grimes, my
like,
dear
wow.
brother. I'm like, damn, JR is gonna be coming in on he's gonna be shooting like what do you call it? Raining on our parade.
What up? Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
It's raining up here, so.
Oh, is that what it is? All right, figures that won't be here. All right, so yes, tonight we are together. So we're going to be discussing Final Destination. It's the 25th anniversary. That means for some of you who are like 40 and your 30s, you're feeling as old as I do when we review some of these other retro ones. So welcome to that feeling. The movie was released on March 17th, 2000, directed by James Wong, written by Glenn Morgan, James Wong, and Jeffrey Reddick, and it stars Devon Sawa as Alex Browning, Ali Larder as Clear Rivers, Kerr Smith as Carter Horton, Sean William Scott as Billy Hitchcock, and the late, great Tony Todd as Bloodworth. And I'm going to put him as they put him on Google, the Devil. So it's been 25 years, so obviously you have to have seen this movie by now. If you have not, well, Alex goes on a trip with his classmates, and on this plane, he has a premonition. And in this premonition, he sees that the plane blows up, pretty much everyone dies, and him, as well as some classmates and teacher, get off, and about a month later, one by one, they start to die. What I had really, really enjoyed about this movie, and I kind of look at it as maybe the grandfather in it. If somebody can tell me there was another one that came out, I'd love to know. But if not, it's their franchise. But it's just the fact that, if you can't escape Death's plan. I mean, you're not fighting, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface. You don't even know what's coming after you. It's just because if you happen to survive this horrible accident, you are eventually going to die. So when you first saw this movie, like that concept itself, like I said, for me, it was a first, which is why I love this movie. Like, what did you guys think about the concept? I'm going to go to you, Robby, first.
Oh, man. Well, I think I saw this when I was 13. So it was the peak of my innocence, I guess. And, I can't remember who said it. Innocence is the inability to understand consequence. But seeing this movie, I went in not really knowing what the film was about. I knew there was a plane crash or something like that. But the whole idea of having death be the killer in this one, because at this point we'd already had Scream and a few kind of follow-ups to that one. So to have an invisible killer who kind of sets things in motion for you, that blew my mind, number one. And number two, since then, has had the adverse effect of making me very paranoid when I'm just even walking around New York City, for instance, or just anywhere really. I think a lot of people can probably, if you're driving behind a log truck carrier, for instance, or if you're on a plane, you're looking around for things that might trigger some sort of a Rube Goldberg effect. So it worked in the moment, but it also has reverberated throughout my entire life. This movie actually ruined me. It's made me, like, in a sense, it's made me a much more mindful and watchful person. Not to a crazy extent, but I think it's a brilliant concept, and I think the film executes it very well.
I mean, honestly, you couldn't put it any better, because one thing with all these movies, I can honestly say that there's only one, and we're not going to discuss all of them, but there's only one that I know I would not be in that situation, and that's the NASCAR one. I've never been to a race, so don't think I'm going to go see one. But all the other situations I've been in, so as you said, it helped put like this fear in you, and you're like more aware of your surroundings in case, oh, is that thing right there going to be the thing that's going to fly over here and like go through my head?
So I can't ride a plane. I don't know anyone who has seen this movie who can get on a plane and have it take off and not in the back of their head somewhere. Think about this. Think about this particular one.
Oh yeah, for sure. What about you, Lexi?
JR asked a question. He said, does it still hold true 25 years later? Yes, the fuck it does. Because exactly what Robby said. I mean, it's in reality situations. I mean, that, like, for example, I went to dinner with a friend recently, actually, and I'm the driver. We end up at the restaurant, and we get, because it opens at 4 p.m. And as soon as we got there, there's this big billboard over the parking. And she's like, why? You're going to make us walk from the back to the front? I said, yes, ma'am. Have you seen Final Destination? I'm not getting fucking crushed. It's a film that just imprints on your everyday life, whether you're driving on a highway or getting on roller coasters, or the NASCAR situation, like whatever the fuck the case may be. It's still, or even like, and this is probably the movie It's fault, but walking over like sewage areas, or the grates, because I'm going to fall through somehow, some way, it's going to break. I don't know. It's stuff like that leaves an imprint even 25 years later. So yeah.
All right, what about you, JR?
All right, first off, I'm just gonna say this: if I'm on a plane, somebody says shit's gonna blow up, I'm getting the fuck off the plane too.
Now,
for all those people just to sit there like, come on. Reality, you would have gotten off the plane too, so it would have been a bunch of people that's trying to go after. But no, I think I watched this actually in the theaters when it first came out, and it's a good concept because I like the fact that you know what the killer is, but the fact that you don't have to see it, even though you get the little shadow things that come out, before it attacks. But I like the concept of it. I think for me, the number one still holds true to this day. If I'm behind a freaking truck and whatever it's carrying, I'm going around the truck. I'm not waiting till some shit snaps and starts flying in my direction. But no, it's an interesting concept. It's just in film. I mean, come on, they kept doing a couple more because of it. I mean, and we're all curious to see how the new one comes out, whether it's going to be a good addition to the franchise or just another sequel that they're just trying to cash in on. But no, it's a very interesting concept, and yeah, I mean, I can't wait to talk about some of these kills.
Well, I'm gonna say, because I think on one of the episodes we discussed with the new Final Destination coming up. I think me and Lexi were like, because it's Bloodlines, there's that whole using that title with how bad it went for some other ones. However, I did kind of read a little something that, I read a little something that the title makes a little more sense. So it would be probably something that is different than the other ones if it's what I think it's going to be. So I'm not going to ruin it for y'all, but what about you, Ricky?
Yeah, it was a nice twist on the slasher formula, so to speak. It was like a fresh coat of paint kind of smeared all over it, because during that time there was a lot of films that were very similar, and there were a lot of influx of films during that time that were like this, not like Final Destination, but with the young cast, and it was just so many horror films, boom, 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 back to back to back, back to back. But this one stood out because, again, it was an unseen threat. It wasn't like a human, or it wasn't something, profound. It was something that was actually ominous, and that was what set it apart from every other film. And that's what really drew my attention to it, especially from the very beginning, how it was like you could see death, slowly creeping its way into our character's past, and it took its time setting that up, especially the opening scene. It just didn't come in and give us a money shot right away, and then it starts. No, it kind of slowly went into that direction. It guided the viewer into this there's this false sense of security, in a sense. Like, okay, what's going on, but it keeps building and building and building and building, and you see all the clues, and Alex keeps seeing all the signs, whether it's a John Denver song. They even had a Princess Diana accident in one of the magazines, during that time. And a lot of stuff like that. Like whether even like in the beginning when one of his books fell and then the book right behind it, it said death or, something like that. So death was everywhere in this opening sequence of the film, and it carried on throughout the film as well. So when I first saw it, yeah, it was different. It wasn't like a mystery of who done it. It was a mystery of like who's next, pretty much. But yeah, it was different at the time, and we'll go along later how as our live stream goes along. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts on that though.
I mean, and the like you said with the who's next, with all the other ones, like you get the who's next, but you always knew who was going to do it. Whether it was, like I said, all the killers. In this one, is it corporeal? Corporeal means you have a figure or you have a body, right? Whereas corporeal, you have no body.
I think corporeal means you have a body. There's a form.
What's the opposite of that?
Non-corporeal, I think.
Because that's what I consider like the killer, since it didn't have a body, it's there. Like you saw the shadow, it was there. You just you didn't see what it looked like, what it was, and basically how it was gonna kill you, which was the other part. Like all the kills, with all the movies that we talk about, we like to see inventive stuff, like new ways that a person. I hope people have a therapist, because we do have issues, because we like to see movies and we want to see people killed in really creative ways on that. So we might have a little problem here, but that's what it did. It turned the kills in the movies for me on its head, because it wasn't a person. It was literally just anything that could be around you, a domino effect. And I think we did a movie not that long ago that felt like it took some of Final Destination. I was trying to remember what it was, but we reviewed it. Like
the monkey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I was like sitting there, like just. I rewatched it again, and I was like, for me, it's always one of the series that is rewatchable. I even last night peeped when the next time you guys watch it again, during the funeral when Alex is sitting there, you got the one little black girl like. I'm like sitting there like, I gotta rewind that, and she is like dead eyeing him, and you can read what she's thinking in her head. Like the girl's like,
"Don't come any closer."
Yeah, what's wrong with this guy right here? But I never noticed it, and here are 25 years later, and I literally just noticed that girl in the crowd just giving Alex that side eye, like looking at him like all odd. I mean, I would have done the same thing too. Well, before we keep going on, want to hit up the comments?
There you go, JR, if you want to read them, brother.
All right. Hey, guys. And Baby Boo. They're talking about you, Joe. Baby Boo. I'm joking. They're talking about Lexi. All right. Adam, hey, all. Final Destination 1 through however many they want to make. There is so freaky. We'll see how this new one comes out.
I agree.
I flew to Wisconsin years ago and actually switched seats with someone. I immediately regretted it because of Death's Plane. I hated flying to begin with, but that movie made it worse. Yeah, that's why you always get the aisle. You don't want the window. All right. Not only did this movie mess you up for flying, but also hearing a John Denver song. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I think there's like a TikTok trend with the people showing clips of like things that could have happened to somebody, like, and they're calling them Final Destination moments, and they're using that song. But when my coworker ended up showing me that, yeah, I was just like, they should probably like, I can probably have that playing around in the background. You should, like, all of my scars, those are all Final Destination moments I walked away from.
Yeah, I hope you're the one driving, because if it's Joe's driving, he's gonna stay behind the truck. But yeah, anytime you merge on the highway behind a truck with logs, definitely.
Sorry, I was thinking. I thought I had a little time there. But yeah, so the other part of this movie, I found the magic that it actually had is the creative ways. Like you were watching the domino effect happen and to see exactly what it was that was going to get our character. So I'm actually going to say mine first because I just feel like it. But I'm going to ask you guys your favorite sequence and your not so favorite ones. And mine, believe it or not, it's actually the airplane. I hate flying. I have a huge fear of flying. And if you have never seen the movie The Getaway with Timothy Oliphant and Mila Jovovich, they go on a vacation and like they
Oh my God, A Perfect Getaway.
A Perfect Getaway.
Yeah.
He says on there, he goes, when you board on the plane, what's the first thing you do? And he's like, oh, I look to see where my seat's going to be and where I'm. No, you look to see where all the emergency doors are. You look to see. I literally, because I hate flying, I try to see where the emergency doors are. I won't pick a seat close enough to those doors because that's probably the first thing that's going to get sucked out. So those rows are going to be the ones that are going to go. So I want to be at least close enough to be able to make them. But I thought the whole airplane sequence, because the movie hit on my fear of flying. Like I drive to Connecticut. I mean, unless we have to do something, I think when we went up for Comic-Con, that one we flew because I wanted to have more time. Other than that, I drive. I would rather have the control in my hands, behind my own steering wheel than being up on a plane. And I have never boarded a plane sober, at least not in my adult life. As a child, I was kind of a mess. But yeah, I thought that the airplane, like it set off the movie, seeing like everybody slowly like dying was kind of captivated you. But then what I didn't like was when Alex was now hiding in the cabin and it'd be just, before you couldn't see it, and now making the character be able to be aware of everything, being cautious, and then still trying to do things. I was like, oh, that's like my one part, my nitpick in the movie is just that section. Even when he goes rolling down the hill and stops before he hits that bark, like, it's like, all right, your concept was cool, but right now you're making your one character all of a sudden becoming invincible in this whole thing. But yeah, so those two are my least favorite. I'm going to go to you, Lexi, first.
I'm with you, Joe. It's the start of the film that freaks you the fuck out because I don't like flying either. I've flown before, but did I like it and enjoy it? Hell no. But I gotta be honest, like back early December, second week of December, my daughter went to Washington, D.C. for a concert. And a month later, the first airplane crash happened, like in reality. With the Black Hawk and the Jet Airlines, and it was the same plane that she was on the same path on, like same plane going to Washington and whatever. So to have that happen like a month later, that really freaked me the fuck out. So it just makes my fear of planes even like more worse. And she's going to New York and the first week of June to go sing at Carnegie Hall, or however you say it.
Carnegie.
But again, Carnegie Hall, and so it just builds the fear of planes even more. And again, 25 years later, I mean, in the sequence, I think it brings me, I guess, to trains next, which the part with Stifler, I call him Stifler no matter what. Where his head's getting chopped off. Like, but I guess I don't like any transportation but my own. I like driving everywhere. Like anytime we go on vacation, we drive absolutely everywhere. We go as far as we need to. I think the last place we went to is Virginia. So, yeah, I'll drive anywhere. I'm with Joe on the whole damn thing with planes. I can't do heights. I can't do planes. I can't do it.
What about you, JR?
See, mine's I like the quickness of it when Terry got hit by the bus, because it just happened so quick and fast. You didn't see it coming. They're all standing there with blood all over themselves. I like that. That was quick. You didn't see it. You imagine what her body looked like afterwards, but it was all the ambiguity that added to the scene. For me, my least favorite when the teacher was getting killed, because I just felt like it took forever. It just dragged for me. I mean, to go from a scene where it's quick and shock to one, all right, let's just drag it out for like a good 5 minutes. So the dude comes over here and gets a knife in his hand, so everybody thinks he's the killer. So for me, that scene was like just the one that dragged away too much.
All right. Robby?
I mean, there's no topping the airplane sequence. Like, I'm sure that at age 13 or 14 or whatever it was, I'm sure that that was the most horrifying thing I'd ever seen at that point. It just blew my mind. And it's not just the scene, but it's also the lead up to it, the music, the unease that Alex is feeling that he can't really even articulate to Todd or to himself. And then when it seems like everything's fine and then it happens, horrifying. Out of the kills that actually occurred, on screen at least, I actually disagree with Jared. I think my favorite one was Miss Luton because it set a template for the ones that for all the movies that followed, which is it's not just who's next, but how it's going to happen. And I think that scene really played with the audience in terms of like, as well as Todd's, but to a lesser extent. There's so many different ways with the mug cracking, the liquid following her. You're just like, how is this going to actually happen? Lands on the computer, the glass explodes and stuff. So that was, and also it gave you just a little bit of time with that character to really empathize with her for a second. Because up until that point, she's terrified of Alex and she's very standoffish. But then you hear her side of it and how she regrets telling the other teacher to go on the plane, and you feel that's heavy. Like you feel that for a second. My least favorite one, not because it's a bad sequence at all, but the one that disturbs me the most is probably Todd's death in the bathtub. Because usually with these deaths, there's like a tinge of irony to it or a flamboyance to the way that it's filmed or something. But that one was just very, especially visceral and just uncomfortable to watch. It was very disturbing. And also because up to that point in the movie, he's the only one other than Claire, who hasn't really come into the film yet, who has Alex's back and believes him just because he's his friend and he cares about him and he hopes that he's doing well. So to have him be taken out first was... the filmmakers knew what they were doing with that one. It was cruel, but effective.
Right. You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted too, Joe. We're like two mutes talking to each other. He's pantomiming.
Two things in a pod.
The opening sequence, I'm not gonna delve too much into that. That's my favorite. Especially like when before it transitioned back to reality, when the fire hits everybody in their seats, just knowing what it's like to be in a plane. I don't fly, guys. JR and Joe don't. I don't fly anymore.
I'm still trying to get him to come down.
So seeing that, it was crazy. And the fire, it reminded me like Terminator 2, Judgment Day, when the fire just, when they're all sitting there, she's just burning. Then he wakes up. That's what it would be like. But yeah, we talked about that to death already. But that's, I think, hands down, still the most effective scene because also of the build-up. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the ominous build-up because we haven't seen it yet. When it happens later in the film, we know what to expect. When you're going into the movie for the first time and you're seeing everything slowly build up like that, and then you get that bam, the money shot of the plane exploding. That was great. My least favorite was Billy's death because Jared mentioned Terry's death when she got hit with the bus. That was okay. That was a cool little, she gets in there, starts talking shit, and she dies. But when he did it, you knew he was gonna die. It was so obvious, and it's like the bad direction. They spent too much time on him in front. Well, in front of the camera, and then in the background you see the train still. Then they keep cutting back to the fucking sign. And he's still talking. Then he got that. Of course, I got to add in the line, "I'm not gonna die." Then he gets killed. The kill was cool though. I love makeup effects, but they dragged it too long. I'm like, all right, he's gonna die. Come on, just do it already. And it's just, I didn't like that. It was bad. It was just horrible the way it was done. For me, from my opinion, it took me out because, like, come on, it's so obvious what's gonna happen. He's gonna die. Just do it. And he just kept talking. Normally, when other films do that, they would highlight different angles, different point of view shots from other characters. But it lingered on him for so long that you knew, especially that they did it with Terry already. You knew what was gonna happen, and it's just, I didn't like that. That was lazy, and in my opinion, bad direction. But that's the only bad scene in the whole entire film for me, so to speak. So yeah, I didn't like that one. It could have been done a lot better. And like she mentioned Stifler, watching it back, it just really reminded me. Well, not reminding me, but it really showed me how he was a non-factor in this movie. He barely had any lines, no
Right.
character development at all. He was just
Right.
there. It's like for a body count. So that was like weird.
And he was
It's-
annoying, just like, oh my god, you're next. Who's next? I'm
Oh,
next. I'm
and
like,
that's another thing too. Before that, he wasn't portrayed that way. He was always portrayed as a guy that was just at the wrong place, wrong time. But
Yeah.
then, before his death, then all of a sudden he became Stifler, like annoying. And
He's the
Mhm,
only character in the
exactly.
movie that really didn't have a realistic reaction. Like once it happens, people against their better judgment are apprehensive of Alex. They're fearful. Carter's angry at him for it happening. Terry is just kind of like staying out of it. So all the characters have pretty reasonable reactions and realistic reactions to this inexplicable thing happening. Billy's the only one who I feel like I get what they were going for, like someone who's like, wait a minute, can you tell me who's next? That kind of thing. I
Yeah.
get it, but it just seemed out of touch with everything else that was happening. Everything else is kind of played straight, but he was like asking for laughs with that one, you know?
right.
it's very convenient too how during Terry's death, when Alex and Claire are sitting by the cafe in the front, and all the characters somehow just managed to like, meet up with each other. Like, what the fuck?
Small town. I mean, right? No, was it a small town? Actually, I think they were from Jersey, right? Because I was watching it last night and they had a accent, I thought. But yeah, you're right, Rick. Like they all just popped up at the same time.
To cut back to earlier between me and Joe, I thought everybody was telling Joe his mic was muted. I didn't realize it was mine. Sorry, I just had to get that in.
That's actually
Alright.
pretty fucking funny.
All right, hold on.
Let's hit the
what's
comments real quick before.
Yeah.
Because I was still wanting to talk about the deaths a little bit.
Where did we leave off?
The poor teacher.
Oh, right. Oh wait, no, I got that. Right.
Yeah, the poor teacher she suffered. That was messed up.
Yeah.
She
I will
deserved
say
it.
though, I misjudged picking the favorite because I literally was like, well, nobody's gonna pick the plane. Everybody's gonna pick the teacher on this one.
No, the
So
plane
then
was-
everybody's like the plane. I'm sitting here going, well, God, now I feel like I just rained down on
I
everyone.
mean, it's iconic. That
It
scene
is
is
iconic,
Yeah.
but
horrible.
however,
But you also
for-
see
for the-
everyone die in the plane too. It ain't just one person. That's
And
gonna-
again,
everybody.
I just
gets
said I
wiped out.
miscalculated that one.
But really quick for Todd's death, the reason why I picked that as my least favorite, not just for the reasons I said. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the only scene in the entire franchise where death kind of takes it. Like you see the water going back into the
Yeah.
the toilet. I think that's the only time where you see death actually kind of retracting itself and like erasing its work.
Yep.
You know, and they never did that again. I was
That
like,
makes
don't,
sense.
no.
All right. This is the
I was
classic
gonna say,
Rockzilla.
What's up, B-Rock?
What up, P-Rock?
Oh, what up, Greg?
What's up, Greg?
Hit me up, man. Hope everything's doing good with you. But hit me up when you get a chance. And gal.
Thank God.
I thank you.
And you know how many times I foresaw a death while driving after watching this movie. Oh, the way you drive.
You know, he brings up a good point because
Oh my
going back
God.
to Todd in the bathroom.
I've been in the car. I've been in the car with him.
I'm saying the way he drives.
You really got to watch out for those Final Destination moments. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Going back to Todd's death in the bathroom. That's the scene though that really got me afraid of not the movie but everyday life. Like that could happen to anybody.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like just death is around the corner without even realizing it, and just by slipping on you could slip on just a puddle on the floor and hit your head on something.
Yeah.
It's that quick. So it's
You know
scary.
what, though?
Makes you think about it.
If they would have killed him on the toilet, you know how many us guys will no longer sit on the toilet bowls or our phone? If a dude died on a toilet bowl, I'm just saying, you know, if they would have killed him on the toilet bowl, that would have had a long-term effect, and you wouldn't have, us, our quiet time in the bathroom.
Hey, that's when I get all my reading. So.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's how
Girls
you
too.
Yeah. Well, with Todd's, like, I've always wanted to, like, and even watching it again last night because I kind of felt like, couldn't you have gotten out? You know, you see that obviously he knocked out the liquids, but I'm like, just take a moment, just like if you could just relax for just 1 second so you can think this through and maybe get on your knees.
Was that the
But-
clothesline that
So
choked
it's
him? I still
well,
don't know what the
it's-
fuck that
okay.
was.
So the women to dry their, as you saw, it was panties.
Yeah,
and
yeah, they were
pantyhose.
drying
So
clothes.
it's like back in the day they would do that. So
We did
in
it
the
outside, not
Showers,
inside.
yeah, exactly. In the showers was this little attachment thing that it goes to the other side, so you can do that, but you can retract that and it goes back into the wall. That's why when it came down, it pulled it, but it's supposed to be retractable.
But it
it
kept
was
wrapping
not
around
one-
his head, though. That's the
Well,
problem. Right?
because when it pulled out where it was connected to, and the things, that's what so he had the force. And I thought that last night as I'm watching it, I'm like, dude, if you just take a moment, just reach back,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
find where it starts, so you could. But
Yeah, that's
again,
what I thought.
when
Yeah.
your air is being cut off,
A nice touch, though.
You're
was
panicking.
His
You're
eyes. with the
Oh,
blood.
that's like I remember in the
Yeah.
theater when his eyes turned red. Everyone in the
That's
theater
nice
went, "Oh, because it's visceral."
yeah,
You know, you can feel what he's going through.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with that. But at the same time, it's the same thing as people saying, "Why did you run in that room when you know it's like when you're panicking?" It's like especially with your air being cut off. Like, I would almost excuse anything, any kind of behavior. So, but yeah, I would probably have just
Not
braced
only
myself
that, but
with
the
my hand or
shampoo is
something.
falling down, making it slippery. He couldn't get
Making
out.
it like there's no obvious
it was
way
on
to get
his
out of it.
feet that it was slippery. But like I said, it is that it's the one that I've always looked at as an how could I have stopped, like if this happened to me, how could I
Yank
have
that bitch out the wall.
Hey, you know what though? If you look at not just this film, but the other sequels that would come later, he got off pretty easy compared to how other people died.
Oh,
So,
I
man.
if I'm,
Yeah,
you know what?
100%.
Fuck it. Let me just die here. Let me die here, because I don't want to get like cut into pieces or decapitated or burned to death. You know what I mean? So
as Lexi would say,
Right.
facts. So yes,
Mhm.
that is definitely for sure. So actually, hold on. There's something I was gonna ask. Well, I mean, is there like any other death scenes, any other stuff that anybody wants to touch on?
no.
The main character, Alex, is that his name? Where he touches the electrical. I thought he was dead when I first saw the film. I thought, oh man, that sucks. He's gonna die. He died for his girl. But I guess it threw me off when he survived, which is fine. But that was a pretty thick fucking cord, and there was like water everywhere. But there was water everywhere. I thought he was fucking fried.
Well,
Thought he was-
I think. Well, actually, you're right. He would have been standing up because the water did go everywhere. So, but
Yes.
I guess sneakers. Maybe he had sneakers. The sneakers would have helped ground it a little bit. I don't know, because supposedly
Bitch would
if you have
fry.
rubber, I don't know.
Oh.
Well,
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
say
he was
if you guys
surrounded
are
by
ever in
water.
yeah, if y'all ever in this situation, 911. Hold on, I'm calling for help. No, I'm not helping right now. Yeah, you guys would be fine.
I don't know if have you guys seen it on the DVD. There is actually an alternate ending where Alex dies that same way, and Carter and Claire live.
Really?
And then the test
did not
audiences were like, no, we want Carter dead. We want Alex and Claire to survive. And then they revised the entire like final 10 minutes.
And that's why I told my best friend who I went to dinner with about the billboard because of Carter being smacked by a billboard.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, "Have you seen Final Destination? I'm not parking.
I'm
We are
not
walking
going
through
out that way.
Oh, we never saw his death though. He probably survived.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out. He
that's
ain't
how the
surviving
movie
that.
ended.
Well, and what I before we go to close it up, what I liked about the second one was when they're all in the car and they're discussing things that moments that changed their lives, and they were all connected to the first one. Like the rocker
Right.
guy was in France, and he was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I was supposed to be in the theater when all this went down." So like that little nuance of connecting like the second one to the first one, I kind of love that one because it shows you that they tried to
Second
keep
one's
the
the
whole
best.
series grounded. Yeah, I mean, by no doubt.
Oh, by
I-
far.
oh yeah. I mean, obviously,
It peaked at part 2.
well, no, actually, the last part, I did like the last one, 5.
5 was
Um,
awesome.
Better than
Five-
2?
five-
I gave up
five-
after the third one.
No, then so I'm gonna say right now,
What did I?
do 1, 2,
What did I,
3.
Rick?
If you want to skip 4, you truly aren't missing much, honestly. And then do 5 because here's the other part. 4 is the only one that did not have Tony Todd in it.
But was it different though? Because the problem with this franchise, yeah, the first movie's great, the second one's good, But then it's just the same formula over and over.
They
Once the
kind
racetrack
of are.
one came out, I'm
Well,
off.
that's what I'm saying. The racetrack one kind of ruined it for some people, but with the fifth one was pretty solid.
That one
And
surprised the hell out of me.
yeah, I mean, you should definitely check it out. And like honestly,
Okay.
check it out because when you're done with it, you're gonna go, oh, all right, because it's definitely it should have been. They should just get rid of 4. You know, like this.
Just
let's-
I've
delete
only
it.
seen 1 through 3, and
Yeah.
I still hate
check out
airplanes.
4. It's not
car
great.
accidents, roller coasters. Even though my daughter and I just recently faced our fears about roller coasters, and we rode like 4 or 5 of them 2 days ago.
I mean, I still I have a fear of roller coasters, but the adrenaline
I will say this:
that you get from it.
the reason why I freaked out on one of them, and it was so. Epic Universe is something that's opening here in Florida, so we got a sneak peek to see it before it opens to public. Spoiler: Donkey Kong World has a roller coaster, and you know, if you remember and played Donkey Kong, some of the tracks were missing, and I thought Final Destination the entire time I was on the ride. I was like, oh my god! And because I love the way that they did it, but there was missing tracks like it was in Donkey Kong video game. And so when we would go up and then I see the track is broken, I was like, Final Destination, Final Destination. I freaked the fuck out. I screamed the entire time and I never went on it again.
So we'll have to talk another time about that then.
So I got Rose. Hold on. My generation is still afraid of the ocean because of Jaws. Nothing in this world is truly safe.
Nada.
Nothing. JR used to be scared of the ocean back after we saw Jaws. We used to mess with him all the time. Like,
I still am. I always was afraid of the ocean.
And
Yeah,
Joe's afraid of needles. Every time we would go to the doctors for physical, he was the last one to get a needle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't like needles either.
I still am. I'm literally, when I get blood work, I'm like,
I never looked. I always looked away.
I was like, you might want to. I'm like, I don't know how much blood do we have to do, and depending on how much they have to do, I'm like, you might want to lay me back down. No, you're gonna be all right. And then they like start looking at me. I start sweating, and then I'm like, they're like, oh, you're about to pass out.
Like,
I'm like,
boom.
I'm like, I told you. All right, so I mean, yes, even though it is a 25th anniversary, everybody knows we rate our movies no matter what. So give your ratings. Any final thoughts on it? Robby, since it's been a while since you've been with us, I'm gonna go to you first.
Oh man, I'm gonna rate it 4 out of 5. I think it's a great film. It's a great slasher. It's one of the better like post Scream slashers of that time. For all the reasons that I've already said, it's really well done. The characters, by and large, are pretty realistic in how they react to things. The death scenes are pretty inventive and creative, and there's a lot of variation in how they do it. I think Devon Sawa is a great final boy, which are very, very rare, and he also isn't a final boy that has like a lot of machismo and like kind of like a sarcasm about him. He's very empathetic and very just pretty relatively normal for a male lead in that time. So I appreciated that.
He won a Saturn Award, I think, for this.
Yeah, yes, he did. Very well deserved. He's really good in it. Every time I watch him, I'm surprised. I think he was 19 in this one.
I saw him recently when I watched it. I just kept thinking of Stan, the Eminem video.
Thank you. I'm in my head. I'm like, my tears going. As he's talking, I'm like listening, like watching him like write his letter.
Yeah.
But I love that he's still a staple of the genre. I love that he still does horror movies, and that the fans still love him, and that he still loves the fans. So he's one of my heartthrobs for a reason, many reasons. But I can't really think of anything else about the film that I love. I enjoy it.
And what wasn't he just also in another one that we reviewed? He was a cop. Oh, Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes, yeah.
He was in Hard Eyes.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's been around, and I still haven't watched it, but everybody's raved about his performance in the Chucky series.
Yeah, he's great.
I heard that.
Yeah, a lot of different, again, variation there. Every season he plays someone different.
Yeah. All right, Miss Lexi.
A definite 4 out of 5. There's potholes in it, but I think it was Rick that mentioned it before that there was a lot of films that came around during Final Destination 25 years ago. What was it? I think I don't know, or I Know What You Did Last Summer. There was different slashers, Scream, but this one stood out back then the most because it was on realistic fears, not some killer chasing after you. You didn't know what the hell was coming after you. It was an unformidable entity that was after Death's plan. So I like that it was completely different from all the other franchises that came out alongside with Final Destination. So 25 years later, it's definite 4 out of 5 for me.
All right, JR.
Saying same thing. It's 4 out of 5. It's an interesting film. I didn't really watch many of the other ones, to be honest, because I'm not a big sequel person. Because I figure after a certain number of films, it just starts becoming repetitive, like Rick was saying earlier.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I lose interest after a while. But it is an interesting film. I love Ali Lauder. I mean, I love during the Resident Evil films.
Heroes.
Heroes. I still love
man.
Resident Evil, man. But yeah, it's a good cast, interesting film. What happens when you cheat death, and death always gets the final say. So, and it was an interesting film. It's still good to this day. I mean, as far as like the special effects, it's just like all right, you could tell. Like, I'm curious to see what they do now with the new one coming out with special effects compared to the fact that we didn't have those special effects before. But yeah, I mean, see what the new one does. I'll definitely catch that one.
They might CGI all that shit.
They will CGI all of it. They will CGI all of it.
Well, no CGI here, but
there is. But as he's saying all this, I'm like in my head going, I don't know. I kind of feel like it wasn't CGI heavy on this one. Like
on the original,
the original. It had it. I know it did. Yeah. I know it did, but I just feel like at least
it wasn't relying on it though.
Yeah, they used it. They used it well.
Yeah,
visual-wise, you kind of,
I'm not against CGI, just how they use it.
It has to be used at the right time. It can be overabundance of CGI.
Yeah, like a practical film, like for example, a practical film that actually they care about stuff like this. When it comes to like the water, especially when it's retracting back after it kills Todd, they'll just do a reverse shot of the water pouring, just reverse it back, and it's physical, it's there. But now they'll just make it a complete CGI water. You can CGI water.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's gonna be like the abyss. It's just gonna come out and just like.
Hey,
but that was done well. Though.
It was done well. I'm just saying it was done well. I'm just saying the new ones they're gonna do that.
Like, don't make me fight you on the abyss right now. All right, Ricky.
Did you get this is what's interesting about this film too is Jeffrey Reddick wrote this and this was actually supposed to be an X-Files episode. He wrote it for the X-Files and he said no, hold on, I think this would be better for a feature film. And what's even more interesting that Alex's dad, I knew I recognized this motherfucker when I rewatched it, that he's Pusher from the X-Files. I watched every X-Files, so I could tell you every character title episode, but if you guys haven't seen Pusher, one of the better episodes that they had.
Pusher. Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, that's my man right there. I hated him in Pusher though, but yeah, this movie, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. It's not the best Final Destination film. I will reserve a 4 for part 2 because I think that one is superior in almost every way. But this one was a really good film. I don't think though, honestly, like it don't hold up as much watching it back now, especially after everything we've seen that came after. I think they could have pushed the envelope more. And I even forgot that how little of a part Tony Todd had in this one. He comes back, you said, Joe, in other ones?
So yeah, he's in 1, 2, 3.
He did 2? 5. Oh yeah. But he came okay. That's probably got all that shit mixed up. I just thought he had a bigger role. He was only in one scene. If you think you missed him.
I feel like he's in one scene.
It's a great scene though.
Yeah, it is a great
scene. A really
scene.
good scene.
Yeah.
One, like I said, when I was looking up the cast real quick, like if you pull up Final Destination on Google, it says Bloodworth / the Devil.
Yeah,
so
because
that's how he's being referred to. And I never looked at him as devil. I just looked at him as somebody.
The reason why I remember that is because back when this first came out, remember this was this is pre-internet or pre-internet how it is now. I was really fangirl back in the day. Rumor, Bloodhound, all these fucking horror magazines, Horror Hound. I'm sorry, not Bloodhound. Horror Hound. Bloodhound. But they always marketed Tony Todd with this movie. Every time they promoted this movie when it first came out in 2000, always marketed with Tony Todd's character. Even in the trailers, he was the main focus. There's one line, you know, I'll be waiting for you, I'll see you. I'll see you soon. Yeah, that one. So when I saw it again, like, oh shit. Damn, he's not really in this movie at all. But you gotta give him credit though. This movie is 1 out of 5 films. They spawned over a dozen fucking books, a couple comic books as well, and there's got a 6th one on the way, Bloodlines. I just found that out not too long ago. So you gotta give it credit for that. It does got its fan base, and as long as they keep the new one fresh, man, I'll watch it. But it just after the 3rd one, which I didn't hate it. I started watching the 4th one, I couldn't get into it. You know what?
I guess
It's the same formula. People go to the accident, and then
skip the 4th one. I mean the 3rd one, and just once. Do me a favor, just once. Watch the 5th one.
Yeah.
I promise you, it'll be worth it.
So none of the other guys have watched 5?
I did not watch 4 or 5.
5
Four.
is. I'm not gonna say that 5. The way that I'm not even gonna say it.
Here's
is
what
that
I'll
the
say.
Final Destination?
My daughter and I
Yes,
are
yeah.
re-watching the series because we do want to go to theater and see the 6th one. So we are
Yeah.
re-watching it together.
I'll tell you,
5
what
blew
I'll
me
do
away,
is
yeah.
once Bloodlines. When is Bloodlines? You guys know? Joe, you must know.
I don't have the date yet.
Anyway,
you know I'm gonna put it on the
that's
calendar because
irrelevant. Don't worry about it. Don't waste time. But what I'll probably do is I'm gonna rewatch the series up until that point. So that's what I'll do. To be fair, and go into the 6th
That's
film,
what we're doing.
I'm gonna watch 1 through 5, and that's where I'll see 5, and then that'll lead me into Bloodlines. So when we review it, I'm assuming we're gonna cover it.
Oh fuck yeah!
Then yeah.
All right, so that means Robby, you're here for that one then too, right? Robby, Lexi,
Me too. Yes.
We're all locked in for that one. Yeah.
Lock it in.
Just tell
We're
me a
locked
month
in.
ahead.
And
you have an
obviously-
agreement in the comments about 5. Oh, he went.
Uh,
Hi,
Okay.
Selena.
Damn.
Oh.
Oh, you got it, Joe?
I can click on him. Go ahead. Oh
Hold on.
shit.
Yeah. Linzar. Oh, hello. Just catching the tail end of it. This movie was great. We love a final boy.
So, but with Devin Sawa is so I always felt like he could have been more, but because he didn't fit the mold of all the other guys, how they looked, I think somebody else has said he's just not so, like he's not the typical final guy. I think like he was always stuck in that one, but I love that the guy's still been around. I thought he was also in a series. I think it might have been the Terminator series, unless I'm wrong.
Wasn't he in Idle Hands? That was him, right?
He was
Gee,
not
Rick,
hands, yeah.
Rick, you're better at the comment.
I got
thing.
it.
That's
Don't
your
worry.
job. I keep making them disappear. Go back up.
I thought
One
you did.
more.
All right, we did this one
No,
already,
we
right?
did
I
that one
got
already.
that one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Sorry.
I don't do these
I
parts.
agree. They lost me after the 3rd
Same.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 was.
Second half, 5th is worth the watch. All right.
Alright,
three
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
from
Lin-
Lin-
Lin, come on, you gotta
about
listen
that.
to Linz at least. If you're not
Yeah.
gonna listen to me, listen to Linz.
Lindsay, she knows her shit. Yeah.
She does know her shit.
She does.
This is the 5th one with the escalator.
That's 4.
Yes.
Four.
No. Oh wait, you're right. Yes,
Yeah.
4. Yeah, yes. Which I hate
All right. I
escalators
will not
also.
listen
Yeah,
to Joe. I'll listen to Robby.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's what I was thinking about. But and what also had happened was that the producers heard everyone's complaints about the 4th one. I don't think, and if there is like that one fan, it's maybe that one fan of that one, which is why 5 turned out to be so much better, because they must have been like, all right, listen, no, this last one, people are hating it. They're talking all this shit. We need to kind of go back to how this series is. And it did. And it's also a good cast.
Are they
And-
really calling the 6th one Bloodlines?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
Mhm.
thought about that.
What-
If this
yeah.
okay. If this doesn't help seal the
That's why I'm
deal,
pissed off about
5
it.
5 was directed by, I think his name is Stephen McQuarrie. He was like a stunt coordinator and protege of James Cameron, speaking of The Abyss. So that should tell you what you need to know about like just the way that the scenes are executed. It's really well filmed. Really well
And
put
when I-
together.
Writing it again. He's coming back. He did all of them, I think, didn't he? He's involved in all of them.
That I'm
I
not
don't know
sure.
if he. I'm not
One
sure
thing
who
I will
wrote it.
say though, he was involved with that piece of shit Dawn of the Dead remake. Day of the Dead remake. Sorry, Dawn of the Dead was awesome.
I was like,
Sorry. Dawn was awesome, but Day of the Dead. He wrote that shit, and Steve Miner directed it. Steve Miner did fucking Friday the 13th. How they got these two guys together and make a piece of shit Day of the Dead film? I'm sorry, I vent all the time because they took my George Romero classic.
It's staggering, isn't it?
And
Where you're like, how did you do that?
Crap. I'm sorry, good.
Well, and with the fifth one, it hit on another irrational fear that I have. And there was this movie that came out in the 80s. I mean, the title of the movie, it just says it all.
How many phobias do you have, Joe? You're scared of everything, bro.
I'm scared of a lot of stuff. Oh, by the way, I got to send you a little video. I will say, you guys should be happy. I have not gotten rid of the frog that has now decided to become a tenant in my backyard. He has taken spot.
Joe.
I'm trying to be nice, but here's why. No, here's why. It's eating the mosquitoes and all the bugs that are flying around. So long as it does its job.
That's one frog against a million mosquitoes.
But no, like this little motherfucker, Ricky, I gotta say, like the other day, like, I'll show you where he's like kind of at. But the other day he's like sticking out, and I came out, and he like looked at me, and I'm like, and then he just went back and down, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna fuck with you. I'm gonna let you stay here. All right. So for me, listen, I think Rick may have mentioned it, and Lexi, where horror movies were towards the late 90s and early 2000s. You know, this was a breath of fresh air. This didn't involve, you know, a killer, a supernatural killer. Actually, it was a supernatural, but by supernatural I mean like, you know, demon, you know, witch, something like
Ghost.
that.
Yeah.
Ghost. This involved something you couldn't see, and it was more of being able to look for what can kill you. And as Robby said, the Final Destination series, I got out of jury duty because of the Final Destination movies. Like literally the guy that was on trial was a truck driver. And they were like, are you scared of truck drivers? And I'm like, and they're like, why are you scared of truck drivers? I'm like, well, I don't know about you guys, but there's this movie, Final Destination. And I swear to God, the jury panel started laughing. Like everyone's like, yes, that's what I've been thinking about the whole time.
It's still one of the greatest openings of any film, bro.
There's a whole jury, as they're listening to a truck accident, was actually thinking about that Final Destination movie. And I also mentioned that because the guy that was the truck driver was really, really overweight. And I'm like, if that man has not been checked out for sleep apnea, then, you know, he should not be behind the wheel. And they were like, we're going to go ahead and excuse whatever number I was. Yeah, and I was gone after that. So Final Destination and telling somebody that has sleep apnea. But yes, this movie, it's the OG. You know, I didn't hate the monkey for using kind of the blueprint that this movie had because it made the monkey fun. And at the same time, it still, the monkey stood out on it. But this is like, again, you're dealing with a killer you physically cannot fight. There's no way of really trying to protect yourself except for, as Claire did in part 2, and everybody saw it, that she put herself in a padded cell and you still couldn't have any sharp things around you. I mean, it's the unescapable killer because you can't really fight it. And just any single way that you can die here. And I honestly, because I'm so fucking clumsy that I have to, as I'm doing things, sometimes I'll look around and go, hold on. All right. So
yeah, you know what?
If I fall, right. I might not. Hold on. Let's move that right now because that might kill me right there.
Right. Yep.
Being mindful of your surroundings. This movie.
I'm the same way.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It did. This Final
Robby's
Destination.
looking around right now. Hold on.
This
I'm like,
Final Destination has
left an
psychologically
imprint.
fucked up people for
Shit,
25 years now.
Wires up the ass all over my area.
Again, you can keep looking around. Anything around you can, like, basically, like, the way my room is set up for us to do the recordings, there's stuff that's very precariously put around me that a domino effect can happen, and it'll probably be like that fucking thing flying off and killing me as we're
I was
sitting
just
here
about to say,
talking.
like, the top of the shelf there, Joe.
Or it could be the mirror actually on my side. But again,
it could be the candle behind you.
This is the beauty of Final Destination. Final Destination has done where you're not looking for the killer. You're looking for what in this room can actually fucking kill me.
If I find out I'm on that list that death is coming after me because I cheated death and everyone around me is dying, you know what? Just get me. Why live your life like Claire, locking yourself up in a fucking this room, always constantly? How can you live your life like that? You're done. You know what? It's my time to die. Accept it.
See, and
I
unfortunately,
couldn't do that. Come on.
of the fact that we were raised Catholic, you can't do suicide.
It's
I
not
would kind of-
suicide. No, I'm not saying
I'm
kill
saying
myself.
I would go. You know what? Fuck you. I'm just gonna jump off this bridge. You're
like
not gonna get
like
me.
my man did in this film. Carter. What's it? That's Carter. That's his name. When he stood at the tracks. You know what? I'm gonna go out on my own terms. So that's what I'll do. If once you see that, even if you avoid it, it's gonna skip you, but it's gonna come back anyway. And now you know what? I can't live my life looking over my shoulder and you know what? This was the plan. Unfortunately, it was my time. So peace.
Well, before we bounce out, let's go ahead and see if anybody else said hello.
Oh, there's
or
a couple here. Hold on.
Joe, I'm the same way. I'm scared of everything. I have many phobias.
Me too.
Joe's scared. Let's see. Joe's scared of frogs, spiders, snakes, needles, planes,
worms,
worms,
planes, bridges. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot. It's a laundry list.
That's why I'm still alive.
This is why us mothers want to bubble wrap our kids. Don't want to come and baby proof your house, Joe, just to make you feel better.
It won't work. Honestly, it won't work.
It's very sweet.
Oh my! But thank you, yes, Rose. Thank you. No, I mean, like my friend the other day, we're standing there. She's like, "Your legs are so jacked." I was like, "Have you seen Jaws?" And she's like, "Of course." I'm like, "So, do you want to sit down and give stories of all the scars on my legs? Because they all have good stories as to why they're there." So I feel like shit, Rick. Because obviously a couple beers. What was both their names?
And what?
Jaws.
Who?
When my God, when they were having the conversation about all their cuts and all their
Hooper and Quint.
Hooper and Quint. I can sit there if somebody is like saying that they have scars.
Show me
I could be one of those
go.
and be like, here you go. So this one happened because of this. So
I'm tired and I wanna go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it went straight to my head. Hey, the greatest movie of all time.
Jaws is
Sorry.
awesome. Oh, we'll be talking Jaws this year because.
Yes.
Oh, you want to join on that one? It's a birthday celebration, by the way, Robbie.
Whose birthday? Whose birthday?
But two people turned 50 around that time.
Oh, that's right.
It'll be JR's. Yes, we're gonna be celebrating JR and Bruce's 50th birthdays.
Yeah, my
in the
man
same
Bruce,
episode.
son. That's right.
Oh yeah.
So I was born in a great year of horror movies too.
Before we go, Joe, blow out the candle before when we shut
turn
down.
all the
blow out the
when,
candle.
no,
Blow out the
when- yeah,
candle,
no, no.
bitch.
No, literally when we're done. That's why I always said even when I record Rick, I'm like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta turn all this shit off. Because before we start, I'm like, click and on. So
I just don't want Death Plan to knock the candle and light everything on fire.
It won't be that. Trust me. But so for next episode, we are all going to be going to the movies. We're going to be discussing Locked, and it stars is it Bill Skarsgård? Shit. All right.
Yes.
Bill Skarsgård and Anthony
Joe said that
Hopkins.
as if we were taping.
Yeah, we were taping. Like,
Oh no, I
Hold on.
stopped
Is
to
it Bill
ask you
Skarsgård?
guys,
Okay, you can
because
take
I
that
almost
out.
said
Edit that.
Alexander, and I'm like, shit, I got the wrong Skarsgård.
Nah,
All
it's
right.
not your man from fucking
True Blood.
Skarsgård from the other movie, the Cronenberg film. I forgot the name of it.
Shit.
Did you see Skarsgård replayed his role as Eric from True Blood? Yeah, and that vampire show. What the hell is it called? Is it something in the Shadows?
Oh yeah, he's in. that
Oh.
show?
He came back as Eric.
I gotta check. I still have to. The movie is awesome. The movie was probably one of the best fucking surprises I ever had in my fucking life. To be honest with you, have you seen that one?
I haven't seen the movie. The show's pretty good.
Which one?
That's
What We
what
Do
we
in
do in the
Shadows?
shadows.
Oh,
What We Do in
yeah.
the Shadows. Have you seen it, Robbie?
I've seen the movie. I haven't seen the show.
Yeah,
I
like
love the
when you
movie.
went to go see the movie, it was nothing at all what you expected, right?
I don't think so. At that point, I didn't. The name Taika Waititi didn't ring any bells for sure.
Yeah, no. It was like we're sitting there and what the fuck are we watching? And by the end, we fucking love that movie. It's an awesome movie. But
So
that's
good.
not what we're going to be talking about. Sorry, but yes, we're going to be covering Locked, So make sure to go to the movies and check that one out. We'll be back next week. And this weekend will be the first part of the 2-part Horror Fiend Drive-In Theater and Movies That Fuck Me Up crossover. And we're going to be discussing, I'm going to say it the way that JR and Rick want me to. Wait, I can't. Guillermo del Toro's
JR, show him, JR. Come on.
Pan's Labyrinth.
He did that in his episode.
It's Guillermo del Toro.
Nah, yeah, not Guillermo.
What,
that's like saying arroz con polo.
Arroz con pollo. I don't say polo. But yeah,
that's
so
exciting.
make sure to tune in for that. The first part will be dropping. It's going to be Movies That Fucked Me Up. And after that, make sure to tune in for the live. It's going to be, Rick, I can't remember. Is it your first watch of Overlord?
No, I've seen Overlord. I saw that in the theater, son.
All right. So on Sunday,
I can't wait for you to watch that fucking movie.
I'm good. I can't wait.
Good movie.
But so not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, the Beer Brothers will be live to be discussing Brains and Brews, and we're going to be covering Overlord, my first watch. So make sure to tune in. And Rick, take us home.
With that being said, stay good, stay healthy, drink beer. If you don't, drink water. But most of all, stay scared. See you in the